Thanks for stopping by once again. I am Coach Ronnie. I'm a strength conditioning coach. I was a strength conditioning coach within the New York Mets organization for 12 years. Had to retire due to a kidney disease, and now I help athletes like yourself, or help parents who have athletes, help their athletes to get stronger, faster. And the kicker for me, or my passion, is the mindset. I help develop rock solid mindsets, and that's me. So again, got people rolling in fitness. What's good? Thanks for stopping by. Hey, what's that? AHM 9990 is in the building. So we're talking time management for student athletes, right? Now here's the thing: we all get 168 hours a week, right? Each week, we all get 168 hours, right? So I'm going to show you today a simple plan to properly manage those 168 hours. It's going to involve a blend of your fitness training, or excuse me, that's the wrong word, your performance training, along with your mental training, or the mental side of the game, or the academic side of the game. All right. All right. So that's it. Everyone has 168 hours a week. I'm going to show you a simple plan to get better grades, right? And faster legs, right? Without extra hours. All right. Want to keep everything within that 168 hour box. All right. So let's dive right in. All right. Now, this is the concept behind it, right? Practice, we might study all at once and kind of cram things in, right? I want you to look at studying a little differently. Student athletes, quiz yourselves, all right? So practice taking tests, practice testing beats rereading, all right? Let me say that again. Practice testing beats rereading. When students quiz themselves, this is some of the stats I have here. This is from PubMed. When students quiz themselves, they remember more later than if they just read again. All right. So they remember more when they quiz themselves. All right. If you want to see any of these studies, DM me. I can send you the links. All right. Now, short exercises awaken the brain. All right. So now we're talking about the physical part of the time management. Getting what's up, Marco? What's up, Marco? Like I said, those short exercises tend to help wake up the brain. So you're getting your physical work in, right? And you're also stimulating the mind. All right. So a study showed that this helped kids focus better and get higher scores on the school testing. All right. And that's from with the PMC. That's what that information is there for. That's what a study came from. Again, I can send that to you. All right. You spread your studies across the days. Spread study across days. All right. So spacing time out, right, helps memory stick. Help you. It makes things easier to remember when you spread out the studying instead of cramming it all in at once, right? And then you combine that with testing yourself, quizzing yourself, right? That those two major factors are going to make you memorizing the answers in the material that much more easy. All right. So spread things out. And this is one that we all know, but it's often taken for granted. We have to get our sleep, folks. We have to get our sleep. Here's some specific sleep numbers. Teens should sleep around 8 to 10 hours, right? I think we know that, at least the eight part of that. Maybe not everyone knew you need to get 8 to 10, right? Less than 8 hours makes athletes about 1.27 times more likely to get hurt, all right, to injure themselves. And this is a PubMed study. This is not throwing stuff at you. This is a PubMed study, right? So keep those factors in mind. Let's go over those really quickly again. Practice taking your tests. Practice taking your quizzes beforehand, all right? Practice, practice, practice. Quiz yourselves. Quiz yourselves before you're being quizzed. All right. Those short exercises we talked about, it could be a short body weight circuit. It could be a short dumbbell circuit, whatever it is. Those help to stimulate the brain, and studies show those that can increase grades, right? And study across days instead of piling everything in at once. Spread out the study for your upcoming exam. Spread out the studying for your upcoming test, right? And all this will lead to better memorization of the material. All right. And then again, we had the sleep. You got to get that sleep, folks. 8 to 10, 8 to 10. All right. So this is the format we're going to use, right? We got people rolling in. Diamonds, what's going on? What's going on with your dialysis? A dot Billion. What's going on? We got Georgia. I got George in the building. What's going on, George? We have Marco in the building. We have John in the building. We're talking time management for athletes. Time management for athletes. I just gave everybody a couple of studies the studies that showed the different ways to be successful with your studies when it comes to student athletes. All right. As a beginner, we have something about a question. As a beginner, what things I need to know about sprinting? Now, let me move forward with the topic there, ASM 9990, and I'll circle back to the sprinting questions. So right now, we're talking about time management for athletes. So stick around to the end. We'll definitely address that. All right. So here's the daily plan. All right. Now, here's the thing. The plan I'm going to give to you is going to incorporate the physical aspect of the training along with the studying. That's not mandatory. All right. You can do one, you can do the other, right? But you definitely want to follow the timing with it. All right. And obviously the consistency. If you're not consistent, it's not going to work. All right. But ideally, just go ahead, do the study, do the physical, do the study, do the physical. But if that doesn't work, I'm fine with that, like I said. But we have to be consistent with every routine, with any routine that we do, right? So, first things first, this thing right here, can y'all see that? Can y'all see that? Let me see. I can go back to StreamYard. I can't see what y'all see. You can see it. There you go. This thing right here has to go. All right. That has to go on Do Not Disturb. All right. Put that bad boy in Do Not Disturb. We're about to get after it. Phone on Do Not Disturb number 1. All right. Read a small part. Read a small part. Stay in back of your own. What's that says? Say it back in your own words for 60 seconds. All right. So the material. You read it, say it back to yourself. You read it, say it back to yourself. All right. And with 3 short questions, you quiz yourself. All right. So you're taking that material, that information, right, for about 60 seconds. Say it back to yourself. Say what it is, say it back to yourself. Read it, say it back to yourself. Then ask yourself 3 quick questions. All right. 3 quick questions. All right. This is going to help you remember the information. All right. So you're quizzing yourself, like we talked about. Quiz yourself, right? Let me get up here and watch. Look at talk to y'all. Now we're going to move for 15 minutes. Again, mental, physical, mental, physical. We're going back and forth, right? You can do some simple hip mobility work. That's what I have here, like a hip stretch, a 90-90. You can do a 90-90 calf stretch, hamstring stretch, whatever it is, a back opener, whatever it is, but keep that movement going along with the physical. All right. Here, my mental program that I offer is all about connecting the mind, training the mind and the body as one, right? And that's what we're doing here, right? We're going with the physical, we're going with the mental, and then we go to the physical, and it's all for about 15 minutes, all right? So we study for 15 minutes, as I described earlier. Then we move for 15 minutes with the stretches that I recommended there. Then we go into some core exercises. We can do some planks, some side planks, right? Holds for, we'll do that 2 times for 20 seconds each, right? And here's the thing that you're going to like, you should like. I had a program called the CEO program. We have a couple are studying with something we like to do. In other words, you might study for a half an hour and give yourself 10 minutes of video games. That's the case here. All right. So you're going to go 15 minutes study, 15 minutes movement, and 15 minutes something you enjoy doing. Like you guys are student athletes today, video games. You can't go wrong with video games, right? So video games is an example I have. You do that. But that's only after you finish the studying. Only after you finish the studying. All right. After you finish your time frame, that certain, X amount of time we have set aside for this process, you give yourself the reward at the end. All right. So only after the study and move session. Study, move, then we have our reward. All right. And then the timer ends and we repeat that process. All right. So that's how that works. 15, 15, 15. Again, we're not cramming everything into one long study session. This is done throughout the week. All right. You're studying that material throughout the week and you're quizzing yourself throughout the week. All right. So let's go ahead and move to the next step. We're going to get to speed, how we can do our speed work. We're trying to keep things short, compact, to the point. That's the whole point of keeping everything within that 168 hours a week. All right. So quick 12 to 15 minute running session, right? You want to do this 3 to 4 times a week, 3 to 4 times a week. All right. So you can do 3 runs of 20 meters, easy to fast, right? So we call those buildups. You might go from 50% to 100%. All right. But that's the thing you want to do. 3 runs, 20 meters, going from medium to fast. Look at it that way, medium to fast. What I say with 50% to 100%, you walk back, take your time as you're recovering, and repeat that process. Everything's based on time, right? Everything's based on time, right? So you're going to do 3 runs like that. Then we're going to do 2 to 3 sets of small jumps, pogos, right? Pogos. That's a plyometric jump, right? Just jumping up and down, and your focus is going as high as you can, but minimizing ground contact time. All right. So we're gonna do some pogos, 2 to 3 sets, 10 small jumps. All right. Now we're starting to activate the stretch shortening cycle a little bit, getting our body ready for some explosive movement coming up. Right. Now, we're going to go over our starts next. We're going to go over acceleration next. So, acceleration is the most challenging aspect of the sprint. So, what I want you to do is get on the line, get in your starting position, but pick one thing to focus on. All right. Now, coming off the line like that in acceleration, for me, you don't want to pop straight up, right? So, a great cue for you to work on coming off the line would be push back, because that's what's happening. Our legs are pushing back into the ground behind our hips, and they're moving like in a, if I can do that for you guys, a piston. Like, it's hard to show you what I want, like pistons, how pistons of the engine go back and forth like that. That's how our legs are moving when we accelerate. So that's what you want to do. Pick a cue, work on your acceleration, right? And in this case, we'll tell yourself push back and drive those legs behind the hip. All right, pick one cue. All right. And if it gets a little messy, just shut things down for a bit and just start all over. What I tell my guys when it comes to sprinting, you're going to come in with a list of this long of things you need to work on, right? This long, right? Your goal is to get it down to a couple of things you're familiar with. I know I need to, coming off the line, I know I need to avoid getting too low. I need to avoid popping up. I need to avoid cycling too early, right? 3 things you work on right there coming off the line. All right. So again, let's summarize that for the speed. Pick one cue as you work on your acceleration, one thing to work on, right? Just come off the line. What did I say? 3 runs for 20 meters, easy, 50% to 100%. You have that one cue in your head, those one cue in the head, push back, and you get those runs in. All right. So that's the physical part. That's an easy way for you to get a 12 to 15 minute sprint training cycle in. You can do this 3 or 4 times a week. 15 minutes, you're done. All right. Keep that in mind. All right. Now, we're going to dive into the mental part of things. Right. We have to train the mind and body as one. We talked about that earlier. Now I want to get into visualization. All right. Visualization, 3 minute visualization drill. You want to do this really quick. All right. So all you're gonna do is see your goal. Baseball guy, you want to see yourself going 3 for 4. See yourself driving a ball into to the gap, right? See the pitch coming right to you. See you showing the proper bat path to the ball. You want your visualizations to be visual as possible, to be vivid as possible, because it's the thing, your mind doesn't know the difference between the visualization and reality. All right. So the more real it is, the more the greater the possibility of your subconscious mind jumping in and saying, look, we went 3 for 4. Okay, well, let's just do it again. Come game time, let's go 3 for 4. Again, be as vivid as possible with your visualization, because your mind doesn't understand the difference between visualization and reality. All right. You can have some music in the background as well, whatever it takes for you to lock in and give you that vivid picture that you need during that quick visualization cycle. All right. So whatever it is, and you can also go with some positive self-talk for yourself. All right. You know, straight path, stay back, whatever it is. I got this. As you're visualizing with the vivid scenery there, the vivid picture, you're self-talking yourself as well. All right. And this, what you need to carry to the game. And I'm talking about baseball, carry to the box. All right. So we do that. All right. So we have that down there. It's 3-minute visualization drill. That's all you need. All right. And then sleep. We got to get our sleep in, like we said, right? Aim for 8 to 10 hours. You have to have some type of routine. You have to turn. We talked about this earlier. Shut this down, right? What am I looking in right now? Computer screen. Shut that down. If you have something to cover your eyes, that's great. If you had the blue blockers, I wish I had mine right here, the blue blocker, the glasses you wear at night, whatever it is, start that routine at least 30 minutes before you go to bed, ideally an hour. All right. Start shutting things down about an hour before you go to bed. Start this routine that I just gave you an hour before you go to bed. All right. So that's a great routine for you guys right now. You can get started ASAP tonight, tomorrow, whatever works for you. Um, let's see. So what are the benefits of doing this, right? How is this even helpful for you guys? All right. It helps you to remember better. We talked about that earlier. Again, this is a PubMed study. If you want to see the studies, let me know. I can shoot you the links. All right. But it helps with your memory. All right. And it helps you with your homework, meaning you're more efficient. You move through things faster. All right. Again, as opposed to packing in 2 or 3 hours and then doing your homework, you're already dragging, right? When you keep the body moving, you keep the brain moving, everything moves faster. Your homework, you're moving through your homework better. You're memorizing things better because of the quiz technique that you learned earlier. So keep that all in mind. All right. That's one of the benefits. All right. With sports, obviously, if you practice your sprints, 3 and 4 times a week, your technique's going to improve. Right. When you see it in your mind, your technique's going to improve. You're getting extra reps in within 15 to 20 minutes, and that's it. So everything's going to improve. Your performance is going to improve. Your technique is going to improve, right? So keep that in mind. All right. Fewer tired legs. You have your power endurance. You're just a better overall athlete or sprinter or overall athlete at that point. All right. Keep things short and effective overall. All right. So let's see. I always try to keep these in about. Let me check out the time. We're at 9:58. All right. So I believe we're gonna call it a day right there, right? So let me break down everything really quickly, and we will shut this thing down. All right. Let's see. So remember, all right. First things first. I'm going through my notes here. I don't want to miss anything. Keep the study and keep it short and effective and to the point. All right, that's what we want to do. Remember, practice taking your test. All right, study, repeat what you studied, quiz yourself. Study, repeat what you studied, quiz yourself. All right, that's the way you want to do the studying. As far as the fitness training, performance training, 15 to 20 minutes is all you need. All right, you get your 3 sprints in. All right, you visualize the sprinting, right? You have the cues. In this case, I mentioned pushing back. As a sprinter coming off the line, we must push the ground back away so we can propel ourselves forward, right? So keep those cues, and you're doing this. You're practicing your visualization as well. All right. And let's see what else. Did I miss anything? We talked about the runs. We talked about the 3-minute visualization. We're going to visualize. Has to be vivid. Has to be vivid. It's only 3 minutes. Incorporate the positive self-talk as well. You want to do that. We talked about sleep. All right. How we got to break down, have a sleep routine. All right. We can have the shade, the blinds for sleep. We have the blue blocker glasses. We have to turn this off. We have to turn what I'm talking to right now, this computer. We have to turn these things off an hour before you shut it down, an hour before you call it a night. All right. And we talked about the benefits of doing all of this, right? Your memory improves. Your memory improves when you use that quiz technique, right? Instead of just cramming all this stuff in, right? In sports, you're just getting extra reps in. You're getting cleaner reps. Your mechanics going to improve. Whatever you're working on is going to improve. It could be, I said running. It could be shooting a basketball. I don't care what it is. I said mention hitting. Doesn't matter. It's going to improve with quality reps. All right. So I think that is it. Usually I have 2 activities I need to give you guys, 2 actionable activities. I'm scrolling through now. Okay. I think I found one. So 1 actionable activity, study and move reward, 30 plus 15. All right. Finish your homework faster and feel better. That's the goal. And what you're going to do, you can do this tonight. You're going to study for 15 minutes. You put your phone on do not disturb. You read a small part, then say it back 60 seconds, right? You do that for 60 seconds. Read a small part, say it back to yourself out loud for 60 seconds. Then you write your short quiz questions, right? And then you answer the questions, all right? You do that. That's the first thing you do. You study, and you're going to move. You're going to go with a hip stretch, all right? You're going to go with a calf wall stretch. Then you're going to go to hamstring stretch, all right? You're going to do that, all right? Then you're going to go with your planks, a couple of planks that I mentioned before, 2 planks for 30 seconds, 2 sets of planks for 30 seconds. All right. We'll do that. Then you reward yourself. Reward yourself with a video game for 15 minutes, right? And we already talked about why that works. So that's number 1. That's your actionable activity you're going to do, right? And the next one is speed, micro, and cue. All right. Speed, micro, and cue. So this is 12 to 15 minutes. You want to do this 3 to 4 times a week. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to warm up 3 runs like we talked about, right? You're going to do 2 to 3 sets of small jumps, the pogos. I mentioned that earlier, right? Then you can pick one. You can do the pushback cue that I mentioned earlier, right? Then you can take a break. If your mechanics start to break up, you want to slow things down, all right? If things get messy, we have to take that time to correct them. So keep that in mind, all right? And if you want to take it to a next level, video record the sprinting. Record your sprint mechanics on video, because if you want to clean up the errors that might be taking place, watching them and seeing them is going to help you that much more. And also watch high level sprinters. I'm just talking about running, right? So watch high level sprinting. You can do the same thing in other sports. Like I said earlier, if you're a basketball guy working on your shot, watch videos of the great Jordan, whoever. But the video will always elevate your practice and the results. All right. So that is it. So what I have for the people that stuck around, I have a PDF. A PDF. I'm heading back over here to see you and say, what up, PMD? What up, Watch Her Run? What up, George? What up, Thiago? What up, Shireen? What's going on with you? Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for sticking around. Now, this is how it's going to work. I have what's called the Simple 168 Planner, right? 168 Plan with Tracker, right? I want to get this to everybody that's still here, all right? So what I need you to do in the comments, just type Tracker. Type Tracker, DM me Tracker, and I will get this to you, all right? Actually, let's not go with the comments because we're going to close this thing out, right? DM to me the word Tracker, and you will get your 168 Planner PDF. 168. Got a tag. Good looking out though. It worked out. Okay. A text came in. Sorry. A message came in. You're going to get your 168 Planner PDF. All right. But again, DM me the word track. All right. Tracker. DM me the word tracker, and I will shoot you that 168 planner over. Right. So if you found value with this, I'm just scrolling through to see who's still here. If you found value from this, drop a 1 in the comments. If you found value from this, drop a 1 in the comments. If you plan on using some of these techniques, student athletes, parents, coaches, drop a 1 in the comments as well. All right. Keep things short and compact. That's the world we live in right now as it is, right? Everything is short, everything is to the point. So why not do that with our sports? Why not do that with our academics? All right. So who do I need to shout out? Who is that? Pawn's in the building. PMD, like I said, is in the building. Watch Your Run's in the building. Let me scroll down here. Will this video stay up for replay? Yes. What I'm going to do is put it on YouTube, and I'll put it in my stories, and you can click on the link. Because when you're on StreamYard, you can't save it. You can't record it. That's the challenge, right? But what I'll definitely do is record it, put it on YouTube, put it in the story, click on the link. You can watch the whole thing. All right. And I'll probably edit it a little bit to get it, more concise. But I'm going to scroll up for the question. Best knowledge coach. Thank you, coach. Hey, what's up, In Fitness? I just saw you there. Hey, Arvind, missed you earlier. Okay, now I'm here for AHM 90 990. 90 990, right? So you had a question about sprinting. As a beginner, which things I need to know about sprinting? Actually, we talked about it a little bit earlier. So when you set up on the line as a sprinter, I'm going to talk about the actual act of running, but there's other aspect as well. You need to have, there's an acronym you need to go by that simplifies it as far as the things you need to improve on. It's called the POW acronym, the POW progression. You need to work on your posture. You need to have proper posture. You need to move your arms. That's the A in POW. Arms efficiently. You need to learn how to do that. You need to learn how to move your leg efficiently, right? And posture in the beginning, I want you to think of this is the ground. This is your body. We're coming off that line. We need to be at a 45-degree angle in relation to the ground. So your start is everything. All right. Make sure you have a good, solid sprint mechanics in general, but start mechanics. Like I was saying earlier, when you're in that acceleration phase, understand how important it is to have your legs behind your hips, pushing the ground back, propelling yourself forward. All right. And as we're doing that, we're moving our arms from, I like to say, from our cheek to our back pocket. All right. And our legs are moving in a piston like fashion, like I described earlier, like the engine, like the pistons in an engine. All right. So that's your posture. As you sprint, you're going to end up straightening up. Well, you're going from a horizontal type posture to a vertical posture, straight up. All right. When we're running straight up, when we're vertical, we have to stay tall and minimize ground contact time. You attack the ground aggressively, right? With your legs, with your torso strong. You attack the ground close to underneath your hips as possible with the balls of your feet. All right. So right there, we address the posture, the arms, and the legs. All right. If you have more specific questions, I'd love to dive deeper into that. That's what you want to consider on the actual sprinting side. You have to be more explosive. So we have to do jump exercises. We have to do plyometrics. All right. Have to do some form of plyometrics. The top three for your start phase, right? You can long jumps, bounds, long jumps, and bounds. What's another good one? Long jumps. I feel like I'm missing one. Long jumps, bounds. You can do pogos as well. Pogos as well. When we get into pogos, we'll start to talk about what's called reactive plyos. All right. You hit the ground, you bounce back up as fast as possible. That's a reactive plyo. All right. That's what you do as you make your way down the turf or down the track. All right. The less time you spend on the ground, the better. And that's reactive plyos help you with that. So, and remember that full speed posture is straight up and down, tight core, looking straight ahead, and minimizing ground contact time. We have to stay tall. We can't collapse at the hips. We can't collapse at the ankles. We can't collapse at the knees. All right. So